Hey everybody, and welcome back to Bigfoot Cooking. Today, we're making Squatch Bunns. Yeah, sounds like a cool name, or you could just simply call them cinnamon rolls. Look at these guys. Is this not just saying sweet, ooey, gooey, glazed with goodness? These are gonna be absolutely wonderful. Now, for the ingredient list, we start out over here with 5 cups of flour. Now you're gonna actually split this up into 4 cups and 1 cup because you're gonna mix them in at separate times. So 5 cups of flour, 2 cups of milk, a half a cup of sugar, and a half a cup of butter. We're actually gonna wind up using 2 whole sticks of butter with this whole recipe. But half a cup of butter, 2 tablespoons of yeast, a teaspoon of baking powder, and 2 teaspoons of salt. Sounds like a little bit excessive salt, but it's not. Because when you've got so much flour going on here, it's going to dissolve in and it helps enhance the rest of it. Now, what good's a cinnamon roll without all the ooey gooey in the middle? Oh yes, the filling, the middle part, the stuff that makes you go ho ho ho. For the filling, you need 3/4 cup of butter, which is about this much of the stick. The rest of it we save for later. 3/4 cup of butter, 3/4 cup of brown sugar, and 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. That will mix up to make the oh so delicious filling. And for the glaze on top. Yes. For the glaze, what we'll need is 4 ounces of cream cheese, because it's a cream cheese frosting that's just watered down, which means, oh, it's delicious. So 4 ounces of cream cheese, 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 tablespoons of milk, a teaspoon of vanilla, and a cup of powdered sugar. Now you think that's a lot, but actually powdered sugar, once it gets the least little bit of moisture, it just sucks down to nothing. You'll see. Now let's get this party started with the yeast. Notice it's last on the things to do, but that's because it's the most important part of this thing, rising and getting fluffy and making it delicious. So, we start out by pouring in the milk, giving it a nice little splash. It's not a hot tub because you put hot milk in there. If the milk's too hot, it'll actually kill the yeast and it will do opposite of what we want it to do. We've got our butter that's melted and it is just barely melted. I checked, it's 118 degrees. That and the milk should get the temperature just about right. And just like you and me, when you get hungry, you want something to eat. Well, sugar. We'll add our sugar to the mix. That way no yeast goes hungry. And the star of this show, the yeast itself. We'll plop this guy in. What we'll do, we'll throw this mixer on, let it turn for about maybe minute and a half, and then we'll let this sit here parked for about 2.5 minutes. That will give it just enough time to swell up and make sure everything is yeasty, happy, yummy, delish. Now we've given it a few minutes to rise. Look down in there. How do you like what you see? That stuff is already starting to bubble and work. Yeast don't play when they're fed right. They're hard-working little things. Now we're gonna take our flour. We're gonna add about half of it in, and because you don't want to dump the whole thing and turn it on, you may have like a flour cloud. So we're gonna take half of it, pour it in. We're gonna give that a little mix, let that get stirred up, and then add the second half. I just didn't want to have a big old splash cloud of powder. I kind of like keeping the place clean. All right, everybody's in the pool, start the party. Now, as you notice, without that second cup of flour, it's a little thin. That's okay. We're just wanting the yeast to work right now. And there you have it. A not very pretty dough, but that's okay. The main thing here is to get the yeast to rise. So we're gonna set this thing in here. We're gonna put this on top of it, and we're gonna ignore it for about an hour while it gets all ooh. In the meantime, let's make the filling for the stuff. Now the filling is not that complicated. We're gonna take our butter. It's almost room temperature, but I'm gonna pop it in the microwave for about 30 seconds to help loosen it up a little bit more. Hold on. All right, there. Look at there. Just slightly melted, but definitely loose. From there, we're gonna dump in our lovely packed, because you don't want all the air pockets. You're gonna pack the sugar. Bloop. See, it even stayed like a cake. And then the cinnamon, the dusty, lovely cinnamon. You do realize that the cinnamon here is actually the same as the cinnamon here. It's just ground up. It's the same stuff. You're just eating tree bark. Those smell great. Now, again, this we're saving for later. Bye-bye. We're just gonna take the whisk. And there you have it. Oh, ho, ho. Goodness, filling for the filling. We're gonna let this sit to the side. You know, we still got like 55 minutes till this gets done. Let's go ahead and start on the glaze. Shazam, frosting time. Now we've got our 4 ounces of cream cheese and our 2 tablespoons of butter in here. I'm gonna do the same as before. We're gonna pop them in the microwave for about 30 seconds, not to make them mushy, just to loosen them up a little bit. So, and if you'll just take a look right there, you'll notice that everything's still solid, but it's relaxed a little bit. I forgot my spoon. Hold on. And there we have it. We've got it melted just barely. Again, like you see, it's still pretty solid, still pretty together. We're gonna grab our whisk and we're gonna mix this up, break it down, get it to where it's ready for the rest of the stuff. Pretty simple, huh? Now, let's you know what? Let's add the powdered sugar. It doesn't really matter which order you put this in, but there's just something therapeutic about this trick. We got the powdered sugar in, and now we add some liquid on top of the powdered sugar. Look how it melts it. Just a little bit of liquid turns this stuff right into goo. Now, from this point, it's just a matter of stirring and stirring and stirring and stirring. You want to break up all these little bits of pieces that are in here. You can do it by hand like this, or what I'm about to do, you can grab the whisk and and tear it up. Either way works, both ways make it delicious. And we've still got 45 minutes till that's done. Plenty of time for this, guys. Go watch a movie, relax. It'll be just fine. Now guys, while this is a stirring and this is a rising and that's a just sitting there relaxing, got 2 little stories to tell y'all. One is of a Bigfoot sighting. I had a friend of mine send me some images that he caught on his security camera. They're actually pretty convincing. Usually they're pretty grainy, but this one don't look bad. Check this out. I mean, as you see, nothing's going on and all of a sudden, poof, out comes a Bigfoot. And he is running and screaming and bucking and man, look at that little guy go. I don't know what the heck's going on, but he did send me the rest of the story. He found out why this guy was hauling butt. Look at these angry little boogers. Oh man, tell me you wouldn't be running from that. I mean, coming after me? I think I'd be doing the Bigfoot dance too. Second thing, if you guys are liking this stuff, how about hitting a like, subscribe, and share? Because I'm trying to get that silver play button. It's only gonna happen 1 video at a time and 1 you at a time. Thanks. Now, let's see how our yeast is doing, just out of curiosity. Look at here. We're about 30 minutes into the rise, and it is eating my spinner. Oh, this stuff's gonna be great. So, we continue to wait for the yeast to yeast. Stand by. And now the time of 1 hour has passed. Let's see what we've got. We're actually pushing the lid off of this thing. Holy crap, where'd my tool go? I gotta dig it back out of here. I won't make this mistake again. Come on, where you at? Look at this. Oh, this was not planned. Not planned at all. I'm gonna do it anyway. We're just gonna Stick it back on here and I'm gonna wash my hands. Okay, got that cleaned up. Now, the whole point of yeast is not just to make bread rise. It also imparts a flavor into it. Whatever yeast does, it changes the whole thing. So that's part of it. So that's why when you make stuff, you know how it always puffs up and you have to let the air out of it? Well, you're not changing just the air ratio. You're also changing the taste of it. So now that we've got this, let's add in the rest of our ingredients. We've got our other cup of flour, our little bit of baking soda, bloop, and our salt. Cha-chink. Now let's go ahead and set this down in here, give that a mix, and then our dough will be ready to start to roll out. And there you have it, our dough. Now let's get it out of here onto the table so we can roll it out and get ready to make them buns. Now that we've got our snow down, because we don't want this to stick to Bigfoot now, do we? We'll see if we can slide this out of here. It is a slightly sticky dough, but it is a delicious dough. Come on, be one with the table. There we go. Let's see. Oh, not too bad. A little flour on the hands so that way we don't stick to it. A little flour on it. Let's work on kneading this dough out a little bit. Kind of get it worked in. Get some of the super sticky off of it. A little more flour for the table. A little more flour for me, because we need a whole lot of flour on the French roller. Got this guy cocked, locked, and ready to rock. Let's spread this out nicely. Get us a good little spread on the table. I once heard one YouTuber talking about he was making something that didn't have rise, it had thrust. That's what this stuff is. It is just coming off the table. This is gonna be great. So we've got it spread out nicely here. What we're gonna do now, we take our cinnamon sugar mixture and we are just gonna bathe this stuff in this. Get a nice coating on all of it. Watch and see. Now you're not putting this down like a cake batter, or not a cake batter. You're not putting this down like frosting on a cake. What you're doing is you're just wanting this nice thin coating of it. I mean, you can see through it in many spots. If you put it down thicker than that, then when it rises, it kind of gets in the way. So that's why you want just a nice thin, almost a paint coat on it. So now that we've got this done, it's time to put a little slice into it and start the rolls. Now you can do this with a pizza cutter, but this is my favorite tool because as you're slicing this, all of them are the same size, length, and you can cheat off the last one to make the next one. Now, depending on the size you want, because you see I'm a bit rectangular, we're gonna be making smaller ones here. But if you wanna make them big old Texas size ones, well, you just come long ways and roll them up and bake them away. So let's start slicing. And there we go. A nice, pretty little bit of dough. Now, pick one, anyone, doesn't matter. You're just gonna take and start rolling. And of course, you know, at least for me, with cinnamon rolls, this is always the favorite part because that's gonna be the heart. But what we're doing, we'll just roll these up nicely. Get that little cinnamon twist. Pick them up. Now these are thick when we're doing this. We'll set them here, a little love push, and there you have it. Cinnamon number 1, many to go. Now I'm only putting 6 on a tray because what we're gonna do, we're gonna cover these with a damp cloth, let them rise for about 20 minutes to fill out some more. And the way this yeast is going, I'm a little scared to put more than there. We'll have a cake as opposed to cinnamon rolls. Okay, we have our damp cloth, and we are gonna hide these guys from the world for about 20 minutes. Wait till you see what they look like next. Remember them, they're gonna change. Ah, the time has elapsed. Take a look at these beauties. They've gotten swollen. They've gotten large. Don't you love it when your kids just grow up big and strong? Now, let's slide these guys into the oven, let them marinate in the heat and become oh so beautiful. Let's slide both of these guys in. Now, the joy of a convection oven is the fact that I can set one guy up here, one guy down here, turn the fan on, and cook them both. Ah, modern technology. Now those guys are gonna marinate in the basking heat rays of 325 degrees for the long, slow time of about 30 minutes. Your oven temperature may vary, but for me, 30 minutes, that sounds just about right. Let's see how they look. Fresh, hot, and right out of the oven. And I mean, right out of the oven. So, there you go. That's what we have become. Swole up, stood up, and yummed up. But we still have one more thing to do, the glaze. Now you don't want to put it on when it's like super hot because all it's going to do is melt and run away. So 15 minutes to stare, smell, and experience them, and then we glaze. Now that everything is nice and chillaxed, we're going to take our lovely vanilla infused frosting, and I've got a spoon that's got holes in it, so we're just gonna pick it up and just let it marry and dip and drain right into this because it's sugary, it's good, and it's cinnamon rolls. Come on. I mean, you gotta have a nice sweet taste to a sweet dessert, right? And of course we have our, I don't know what to call it, our one leftover stuff. But you get a nice drizzle on it and you just let it soak in and marry the flavors together. Oh, baby, how could you go wrong? And there you have it, the sweet treat of the evening. The favorite part for me, of course, is the gooey center. So I'm gonna start with this guy because he's mostly center. We're just gonna break him apart. I mean, look at this. Comes right open. You got all that cinnamon color. Well, you should, it's full of cinnamon. We got all that cinnamon goodness because and you got that glazed taste to it. Man, this is what you're after. This is the whole reason for making a cinnamon roll. Well, that and knowing that when you go to bed tonight, you'll know that Bigfoot is real. Did I mention I have an awesome sous chef? Gotta make the dough, gotta make the dough, gotta make the dough.